Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the ROYL Podcast. And this week we are joined in the virtual studio by a very special guest. You know him, you love him. It's it's Theme Park Brandon. How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, I'm good, just enjoying another day in paradise and getting ready for the very, very anticipated, intriguing Cincinnati Bengals 2025 season.
Yes, and let's hope we have a good season, and hopefully Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt again this season.
Our defense plays some good defense.
Yeah, for sure. And
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit about Cincinnati because you have some ties with Cincinnati. Yep. So we'll go ahead and have you introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself and share testimony as well.
Yeah, so my name is Theme Park Brandon. I'm a YouTube content creator as well as a theme park influencer. Been doing the YouTube stuff since 2020, and I've been passionate about theme parks ever since I was a young kid. Going to Kings Island, I grew up in Kettering, Ohio, and went on a bunch of trips to Kings Island, Cedar Point, and stuff like that. And I never really ventured out of Ohio until I became older, but went up to Cedar Point with my father, my sister, and we loved it so much. When every year they open up a new ride. So 94 for Raptor, 96 for Mantis, Power Tower 98, 2000 for Millennium. And then I think it was around the Millennium time frame that I went up with the youth group from my church in the Kettering area. And that's when I got saved because we had day in the park and then a day just at the campsite and just fellowship, hanging out. And our pastor at the time gave his testimony, and what he said just really kind of pulled me inside a little bit. I feel that way, or I felt like that when he was that age. Okay, it really makes you think. And so I remember I didn't do it because I was at Cedar Point, but the campground was near Cedar Point, so I was I got saved at Cedar Point, which is kind of cool. And I was probably 20 at the time, 19, 20 years old. But I grew up going to Catholic church. So I've always believed, in God. And I've never I didn't grow up in a strong Christian family, but I've always had that aspect of just love others, be nice to people, be the best person that you can, kind of mindset. And then this started really getting into the more Christianity aspect of it, because Catholic church is fine, but for me, what I like in a church is something that I learn every day differently than just you're more of a ritual for the Catholic church and stuff, which is fine. But for me, again, I was I like this style of church where every Sunday he's talking about something different, and it's just, you can wear this to the church and they don't care. I like that. So anyways, long story short, did that, then met my wife. We have two great kids and moved around a bunch of places, and now we reside, about 30 minutes outside of Carowin. So life is, it's a roller coaster. It's up and down, but right now we're doing good and hanging out, and just I love sharing the passion of theme parks with my family. That's what I love the most, being able to do that with them.
Awesome, man. That's so neat to have that testimony say, like you said, you were saved at Carowinds. You got saved at Carowinds. And
exactly, yeah. At Cedar Point, yep, it was great.
Yeah. I got confused there for a second.
You're good.
You're talking about your home park being Carowinds. But
yeah,
Cedar Point.
Cedar Point. And I remember, too, because it's funny because we went this giant church group. And this is a different trip, actually, but it's same church, just different. Yeah. This is already after I was saved, I think. I went up with some of my friends that went to the church or didn't go to the church but wanted to go to Cedar Point for cheap. And there's two buses. There's one bus. And I remember that the bus driver didn't take the right way from Dayton. Oh. He went all the way up 75 to 80 and across. I'm no, get off of Findlay. Do route 12, then route 6. I was freaking out, you're wasting my time. I need to get there sooner. And then we got there, and I pulled my friends aside at the end of the day, look, let's go get in line for Millennium Force at night. It's worth it. And so we got a night ride on Millie. Yeah. And then I'll never forget, my pastor was so mad at me because every other kid was back when they're supposed to be. but we were like 30 minutes late, and so we actually ruined the chance for all these other kids to go to the pool back at the hotel that night.
No.
That is not that Christian of my thinking, but like roller coaster, night ride, Millennium, yes, that's more fun than a pool.
Priorities, people, priorities.
Yeah, come on, it's like leaving Kings Island at 9:00 and not getting a night ride on Beast or Mystic.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, in my opinion, that's practically a sin. Like, you just don't do that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been a fun journey, and my wife and I found a great church near our house, and
Awesome.
a newer church. We really like it, and she didn't grow up with any type of structured religion, so it's really cool to see her just change as a person. And she's always been nice, but there's a different type of niceness that she has now to people, or just the way she thinks, like putting others first. It's pretty cool. And I just, in my opinion, maybe you can relate, but like for me, people that, have Christ in their hearts and believe, like there's a difference between a person that doesn't have joy, right? Like joy to me is the Holy Spirit inside of you, personally. Mm-hmm. I just think there's a different meaning of joy when you have that, and you can just tell when someone has that, because the way I can tell by someone walking down the street a lot of times, like, oh, they are definitely feeling it, and they might not. Who knows? They might not have joy, but that's my observation. And not everyone's like that. Yeah. But it's really cool that, that's why I've always been like positive, and, life sucks sometimes, but, it could always be worse.
Absolutely. And when you accept Christ as your Savior, when you have Him in your life, you're a new person completely. As you look at people in the Bible, when they came to Jesus, they were never the same afterwards. And that's just the awesome thing about our God is, like you said, He gives you that joy, that new life in Him, that when people see you, they're like, there's something different about you that I want that. So yeah, that's awesome.
No, for sure. I mean, there's, I think when you're younger, and I just watched your testimony, I think you're 9. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like at that age, even, you're probably still more like, okay, you probably bought into it. I mean, by bought in a good way, right? Yeah. You just sucked it in and learned, right? And you wanted to learn more than you would have been, let's say, most 19 and 20-year-olds, right? Because you're at that point, you're independent. You're like, I can do whatever I want. I can go and believe this or believe that and get a tattoo. I can gamble, whatever I want to do. And like for me, doing that, it took a little time, right? Mm-hmm. Once I got saved, it wasn't like an instant, like I'm a whole new person. But I felt like I had a new beginning, right? Like I felt like, oh, this is kind of, there's something here that I need in my life. I want more of this. How can I develop more of that in my life and implement, these principles, if you will? So it's definitely a cool feeling.
It is, and it's just neat to know that no matter what happens in your life, no matter what circumstances you find yourself in, you have Christ in your heart, and there's that hope and peace that this world sadly does not have unless they have Christ, and they try to fill it with these different things. There's some things that aren't bad at all, like coasters and movies, all this stuff. They're not bad things, but what people need truly to satisfy their every need is Christ, and that's what we like to do here at Ride of Your Life Ministries is use our passions, use our loves and things like that for coasters and parks, but use it in a way to bring people to the cross and know Jesus, their Savior. So,
yeah, and I think it's great. There's, and that's what, like, I have my platform to like just be a very uplifting platform. I have fans I met all over every park, all different backgrounds, different beliefs, different this. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna love you, respect you until you don't love me and respect me. I will still do it then, but then it's like, hold up here, I will always like respect you and go out of my way to help you. But there comes a time where it's like, I've learned my lesson. But it's definitely really cool to be able to have a platform, especially in this community, which is very, some parts of it are very opinionated, which is fine. Yeah. And it divides the community a lot over certain aspects, which is unfortunate, just like most things in life. And at the end of the day, like, I think we should just all say, you know what, Donnie, you believe this, you think that, I still love you as a brother. Let's go ride coasters.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's crazy to me how people just would rather just jump the gun and cancel you or hate you or this or that for whatever that person believes in. We live in America. We're allowed to all have our own opinions, and there's no opinion that's right as far as a lot of things go. But I'm just glad that I have a great family and a great friend base and a great church now where, we just go and just love everyone else and just make sure that they know that, hey, I don't talk too much. I'm sorry, but my purpose and this is how I look at my life is I don't preach to people like, hey, you need God in your life. I just don't. That's not my style. And I respect people that is their style. That's cool. But my style is I want someone, whether it's a fan of me, fan of my channel, or someone at the grocery store or wherever I'm at, to think that guy's different.
Mm-hmm.
He really impacted my 5 seconds or 30 seconds of meeting him or talking to him. What does he have that I don't have? Is I want what he has.
Yeah.
Right? Like I want that feeling. And so for me, I just try to make it so it's not fake. It's 100% genuine inside of me, but it's more of a, sharing the wealth of, hey, I have joy in my life.
Yeah.
Here is why. Now, if they say, hey, what makes you the way you are, then I'll give them a whole list of rundowns, this and this and that. But yeah, I think it's really important to have a strong community where, Christ isn't very prominent in the coaster community, for at least what I could tell, or it's not publicly, right? There's a lot of people that are of faith, but they just don't say it. And there's a lot of people in the community that don't believe in God, and I respect it. I don't believe in that, right? I don't think it's the right belief, but I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, you should think this, you should think that. But it's just great to have a platform to be able to help someone having a bad day out that turns their day around when one of my videos comes out. And for me, that's what feeds me to do more videos. When I say, hey, I watched your guide to this park and it really helped us out. Thank you so much. That is what I want. I want someone to look up to me as a role model as well as an uplifter.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. You got to let everything we say and do point to Christ. And I've heard it said, we may be the only Bible someone will ever read. What kind of Bible is someone reading out of me? And that's kind of what my motive is in my everyday life. It's what kind of Jesus are people seeing? Are they going to see a Jesus that's just rude, arrogant, like speaks their mind? Or is it someone that's loving, compassion, willing to help when needed and help along the way?
Correct. And us as Christians, we're not perfect.
Nope.
I mean, I've seen people from my church, and I see the way they treat others, even at church. I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. Like, but God never said you had to be perfect, right? Just lead by example and be open-minded and love people. And so it's I think nowadays it seems like Christianity gets a bad rap, and it's just unfortunate because there is a lot of stereotypes that do unfortunately fall under the church aspect, but it's just like any other thing out there. Yeah. Businesses, corporations, it's all politics, really. If you think about it, like there's always ups and downs, good and bad in anything. Yeah. So it's just a matter of finding your right niche and your right, friend base or people you want to be around, and know that not everyone that goes to my church is perfect, or they might be, faking it. I don't know, but I know that I like it and I like helping people. So it works for me and my family.
Absolutely. And that's the awesome thing to know, is that God doesn't expect perfection out of. He expects our heart and our willingness to live a life that's pleasing to Him. So
100%.
Got to try our best. So, as you mentioned there at the beginning and kind of pointed out, you're wearing a specific shirt tonight. You got Cincinnati Bengals Hooday, and you have some ties here to the Cincinnati area. Go ahead. Let's do this. Are you a Skyline or Gold Star guy?
Come on, Skyline.
Absolutely. Correct.
Love answer. Skyline. I get it at least twice every time I come up to Ohio.
Nice. Yeah, Skyline's the way to go. Gold Star. My in-laws love Gold Star. I I'm not a fan, but Skyline
You
just
got to be
has.
on the good side of your in-laws, though, so you got to suck
Yep,
it up and be a
I know. I got
fan.
gotta have dinner with them there, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I wish I could have Skyline, but hey, it's good. But so you grew up Cincinnati and Kettering area, as you said, and you worked at Kings Island, which is
Correct.
that's awesome. Go ahead and talk about your time there at the park.
Yeah, so it's 2004. I started on the Beast crew, the Beast and Flying Eagles, the last season for the Flying
Nice.
Eagles. I loved it. My supervisors were a guy named Josh Page. He's no longer at the company. He works at Best Buy now. But Rolf, some people probably know Rolf from Kings Island. I think he's still there. Operations manager now, I think, one of the higher ups. Super awesome guy. They were my supervisors. They really developed me into the person that I wanted to be. I was 21 when I started and just didn't start off very great the first few months. I was pretty late pretty frequently from Kettering. And so they're like, Brandon, I remember like 4th of July or near the middle of July, they're like, you have like 3 or 4 more days left in the year that if you're late, you're going to be fired. I'm like, oh, snap. All right, let's, not be late as much. And so I just turned it around and was voted the co-MVP of the crew that year, the Beast Crew of 4.
Nice.
Wrote my name on the wall, which is still there in the closet, which is legit cool. And then the following year, I got promoted to work up at Whitewater Canyon as a supervisor.
Nice.
So that was really, really cool too. And then after that, it's Kings Island. It still is today. It's just such a competitive park.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the best regional parks, and the pool of employees are like just top notch. Like a lot of people are real, especially in operations. They're really solid workers. So I knew, like even then, 20 years ago, that it would take longer for me to move up.
Yeah.
Plus back then, and I'm sure it's still the same way a little bit now, but it was more like my good friend Willie, he used to work at the park and park services, great guy. He told me, Brandon, I'll never forget till this day, till the day I die. He's like, Brandon, just to give you a heads up in this industry, and it's a lot of industries, he's like, it's not who you know, it's who you do. That's how you move up. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to move up then. I'm not doing all that. I don't want to do that just to get a promotion or whatever. So I realized that to get promoted and move up faster in the chain, that I should take my talents elsewhere. So I went to Six Flags New England, and that's where I met my wife and stuff. Awesome. So I did that for 2 years as management of that park. And then I was like, forget the cold weather. I'm moving to Florida. Then I worked down at SeaWorld Orlando for 2 years as an operations manager, and then switched departments entirely for a couple of years and worked at Universal Orlando as a vacation planner. Cool. So basically I was at the desk when people come checking in at the Royal Pacific, Portofino, all those big hotels, the on-sites. I would sell them theme park tickets, talk about the parks, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So, and now I'm out of the parks completely. I just promote the parks on my channel, and it's even better.
Cool. And out of the parks you got to work at, which one would you say is your absolute favorite?
That's a tough question. I really like my time at SeaWorld because I was in charge of the Orca Stadium, the Shamu Stadium, and it was really cool to see like how those whales would interact without guests around, and just watching the trainers work with them so closely and caringly. Like, obviously SeaWorld gets a lot of bad rap, for certain things, which I knowing what I know and seeing what I see, a lot of that's like, come on, that's ridiculous. But like, one of my favorite memories was I was in the morning, like we had to be like 7 a.m, and our side of the park back that never opened till 11. I remember like 8:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, my friend Bill and I were just walking in the inner promenade of the stadium, inside the stadium, and sure enough, there's 2 baby whales just chilling, no trainer. And I kid you not, they saw us or heard us, and they went over and they tried to get us wet, splashed their tails on the water, trying to get us. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. But there's no trainer out there saying, hey, do that to them. And that was really cool. And I had a connection I was never a trainer, but I was down near the glass a lot, and I just felt like those whales at that time when trainers were still in the water, like if I fell in the water, I would be a little nervous, but I wouldn't be like freaked out. Like, okay, they're used to people. They know who I am from being around them. all the time and stuff. It was just a cool, meaningful job. But Kings Island's where it started. That's where the passion really kicked in. That's when I realized that, look, there's people out here that are just like me. Because that was really before the internet, and I thought I was the only crazy guy who loved roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met some of my best friends ever in the world, and it was just really cool to have that mutual interest with people.
Yeah. There's no place like Kings Island, honestly. It's just, as we saw today, as of this recording, they love their past. They love the history of the park, and I pray with this new management that stays the same, which this gives me hope. And what we're talking about is Phantom Theater opening nightmare is coming to Kings Island in 2026. Brandon, what was your initial thoughts when you saw that teaser drop at 10 o'clock this morning?
Finally, we get Phantom Theater back. It's only a matter of time. I really like it. I think it's a really smart move. It's a budget-friendly fix, but it's going to make people happy. Yeah. And so I don't think I'm sure there'll be people complaining about it. That's everything in life. But I think most of us should think, you know what? At least we have a new ride. Yeah. Most parks didn't get anything new, and it's a new ride that's going to pay homage to the original ride, which is going to be even better. So I think I'm rather intrigued at how they're going to do it. Like we talked about earlier, like the flashlights are kind of cool. Yeah. The original Phantom Theater was not interactive at all. So you just rode it. So this would be really neat for them to be able to pull this off. And I'm really excited. I didn't bring this up in the video. I wish I had, but that I did earlier. But I really wish that they had. I should say I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with the facade of the building.
Yeah.
Like, that would be cool to see.
I hope they bring back the original building, or at least the original concept art. Yeah. And if you go to Kings Island's YouTube page, back in Halloween of 2023, I think it was, they put out the soundtrack for Phantom Theater, and they had the original concept art. So it had like a courtyard that led up to the theater with all the posters of all the Phantoms and all their human forms. So that'd be neat to see. And then hopefully we see Maestro up on his booth again.
Yes. I'm trying to find that facade real fast.
It is so cool. And looking at I keep looking over because on my other monitor I have the concept art that dropped with the announcement today, and I'm so excited to see what they do with this ride. It looks like they're keeping the Doom Buggy style cards, but modernizing it a little bit. But it gives me Minion Blast vibes. I feel like that's how it's going to be at those flashlights.
I think that's a good comparison. Yeah. But I think that's a good comparison. And what was the old facade of Phantom Theater? I'm trying to find it now, but I can't find it.
The original facade was, it was just like a plain white, like a tannish facade.
So it wasn't anything,
nothing grand. It just had the Phantom Theater sign, and then
I see. Obviously, Boo Blasters is like that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well, I'm definitely curious to see what they're planning on doing to it for sure.
Which, as of this recording, Monday is the last day for anyone to ever experience Boo Blasters. Praise the Lord. But I'm so excited for them to bring some life to this attraction. 15 years is overdue for Boo Blasters, but this, I think, is going to stand the test of time. And the thing that made me excited was to see in the press release that animatronics are going to be in this ride, and it's not going to be completely screen-based. There's going to be physical sets, special effects, modern technology. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really good for Kings Island, just because it's just it's good to see dark rides. I'm not a big dark ride person, meaning that I love them. I'm more of a coaster guy, but I like dark rides that are scary themed because it just adds a different creepy feel. And Boo Blasters, obviously, all the neon lights and the cutouts, it was just more fun for the kids. But the Phantom Theater, even what I remember of it, it still had that creepier vibe to it. So
yeah, I kick myself in the butt to this day. Back when Phantom Theater was open, I was a young kid. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 years old. And I remember walking into the queue line with my dad, looking up in the box. I'm like, nope, we're not riding this. I see Maestro up there. I mean, the original animatronics were honestly creepy. They were creepy. Like,
No, for sure.
yeah,
They were 100% creepy because I would have been. It opened up in '92, so
yeah.
I would have been 9 years old. Now I don't know if I rode it. And back then, my mom we'd only go to Kings Island once a year for her company buyout. We didn't have any money,
Mm-hmm.
so I couldn't go. And so I remember always going, and I rode the Beast with her years ago, and I remember riding the Ferris wheel back then. That's how old it was, or how long ago that was. And I remember looking over and seeing the racer, the white coaster, and I thought that was the Beast. I didn't know that was the racer. I had zero knowledge.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool to be able to like grow up at Kings Island. I don't remember the Screaming Demon. I've been on King Cobra, but it's just definitely neat to be able to kind of see how it all transpires. And there's so much, sentimental pieces to Kings Island.
Yeah. And if you could bring back any coaster from the past, Screaming Demon, Son of Beast, Firehawk, what else?
I would go Vortex.
That's correct. Okay. How would you modernize it?
I just love the Arrow Clinkety Clink and Coney. Coney's not the same anymore. You don't hear it.
Yeah.
I loved Back Row going on that first drop. You get some great floating air time. And I like the fact that the layout wasn't just inversions. You had the 2 hills and then the 2 vertical loops, the cool turnaround and the brake run, and then the helix at the end. And I really appreciated the corkscrews being so high off the ground. That was rather unique for that style of ride. And I Son of Beast because it was such a huge ride, and I wish that they could have just RMC'd it.
Yeah. Which, honestly, if it wasn't for Son of Beast and going with the technological challenges it had, we honestly wouldn't have RMCs today. Kings Island and the team they had working with them really pushed the limits to try to combine steel and wood. So, yeah, I'd love to see a resurrection of Son of Beast over in Action Zone once certain rides in an amphitheater make their way out. That would be
I think it's only a matter of time. I think if Vertigo's gone soon, Congo's gone after this year, I'd imagine. I just don't see people need to realize, and they don't, but not everyone, but that these parks, it costs a lot of money to maintain these parks. It costs a ton of money to staff these parks. And losing a ride like Congo Falls is not going to affect any foot traffic at the front gate. And you'd save, it takes 2 people to operate. I think it's 2, it might be 3, but let's say 3 with brakes. You're paying them what, 14, 15, 16 bucks an hour, whatever it is. You can move that money elsewhere to save. And so with the new merger, and I have friends who are very, very high up in the merger. I'm actually like, I know 3. I have 3 of them cell phone numbers in my phone, and I'm not boasting myself at all. I've just known through all the time in the parks. But Jessica Naderman, who's the regional manager for Dorney, Kings Dominion, Carowinds over Georgia, and then Jeffrey Seifert, who's obviously over Texas, and then Pete Carmichael, who's over LaRonde, Canada's Wonderland, New England, Great Escape, and Great Adventure. He is my old boss at New England. So it's pretty cool to know that I've worked, and Jessica Naderman was my boss at Kings Island, my area manager when I was there in 2004. And I've never worked under Jeffrey, but he was the PR guy at Kings Island when I was working there in 2004 as well. So it's kind of cool. It all kind of, now they're 3 of the regional managers, but I just know that there's a lot of things that they're working on and they're trying. Doesn't seem like it all the time, and I do get frustrated like everyone else does, but I'm rather optimistic, and they're just trying to cut back, save money, and charge you for the haunted houses. Honestly, it's not that expensive. If it gives us a better product, then I'm cool with it. I think the product will improve, and there's money to be made. And just like anywhere else you go, like the ads in the parks. Yeah. Dude, I don't like them either, right? But then I got to thinking,
it's a poster.
Everywhere you go, there's ads, right? Yeah. Driving down the highway, you know what I'm saying? Scrolling on Facebook, there's ads. People don't complain about that. If it brings more money into these parks, and that means more rides for us, new rides or new attractions, or even keeping the park afloat, then I'm all for it. I don't necessarily like it, but in the end of the day, they have to find ways to make everything kind of seem, to work together. But I definitely think that going forward, and I have no inside knowledge on this, it's just I think everyone probably has the same thought is they got to get rid of parks. 25 parks is even with 24, 23, not including America and Great America, which are obviously going to be closing, but there's still a lot of parks.
Yeah.
In order to create a great product, it's quality over quantity, and so I'm very curious to see what happens in the next 2 to 3 years. And obviously Carowinds, Kings Island, Cedar Point,
they're safe.
Those parks are safe. It's just a matter of what happens, the other mid-tier parks.
Yeah, I'm curious which one's going to reign over the other. Is it going to be Cedar Point over Kings Island, or is it Kings Island going to work its way off? Because it seems like they're starting to show some love to Kings Island and show it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. Like, they'll never prioritize Kings Island over Cedar Point, and the reason why is Kings Island doesn't have any revenue from hotels.
That's true.
As a destination, they want to make Cedar Point a 2 or 3 day destination. Stay on property. That's extra revenue for them. I mean, who knows though? Down to your point, like I would love to see now that the merger has taken place and Cedar Fair side understands and knows how to operate a hotel successfully. I would love to see how that would work out with Great Adventure building a hotel on property, even Kings Island. Obviously Kings Island doesn't have the lake. Yeah. If Cedar Point wasn't on Lake Erie, it wouldn't be as big as it is now. That's part of the draw to it, the destination feel, and so I think Kings Island is a better overall park in a lot of ways, yes, but I think that, there's always going to be a bigger budget for anything for Cedar Point than it is other parks, just because it's Cedar Point. You have the people paying. I mean, I don't know about you, but it's expensive. I mean, it's to stay up there, and typically we'll do like Breakers Express or Cedar Point Express Hotel, where it's like really cheap compared to like Breakers. Hopefully one day I'll bring my family to Breakers because I want that whole experience. I love staying there. I stayed there twice for free. Well, one not for free, but it was real cheap back then. Another time, my friend won a package.
Oh, cool!
But I love the cabins too. There's so many cool memories that you can make without even riding rides. Walking the beach at night. Cooking out, having a drink by the fire. Like it's great.
Yeah, it stinks that Camp Cedar didn't last as long as it did under Kings Island, but I'm glad it's still there.
Is it still there now? Is it still?
It's Cincinnati's Camp Cedar, it's not Kings Island, but they still have the shuttle and everything. Which it's a beautiful campground. It's glamping at its finest, and it's so nice that Kings Island I'm glad it was the 50th season that they attempted to do it. It's brought back some of that history that the old campground had.
It. I didn't know where it was.
So the McDonald's.
It's right behind McDonald's there.
Yeah.
Wow. And there's cabins and stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So my wife and I stayed there opening year. It was delayed a year, but opened thankfully for the 50th anniversary. So we made a whole weekend out of celebrating the park's anniversary, did all the stuff there, and stayed at the campgrounds. It's really nice. The cabins are like the tiny homes that they have. Super nice. And the staff there is just top notch. The food is amazing. And you get a perfect view of the fireworks.
I'm looking at the cabins too. I like cabins, and you're allowed to bring cabins, or you're allowed to bring your dog.
Yep. We
have a little dog that comes with us usually wherever we go. Normally at places like this, the cabins, like Cedar Point, Kings Dominion, you're not allowed to have dogs in the cabins. I'm like, well, our dog's really well behaved. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm surprised that wasn't more of a. It'd be cool if that was all Kings Island. Because back in the day when I started going to Kings Island before Great Wolf, that was the campground.
Yeah.
I never stayed there, but it was cool just to have that I think knowing what we know now and where Kings Island is right now, it'd be really cool to look back with the management and think, would they have sold the land to Great Wolf, right, to build that, or would Kings Island have built their own hotel?
That's the thing is, how long is Great Wolf going to be there? I'm sure there's going to be a end of contract someday, and it'd be nice if they had brought back the Kings Island Hotel that used to be across the street where that church is now. That'd be so
Yeah,
good.
the movie theater. Yeah.
I remember when it was a movie theater, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right. That was the whole. Yeah, that was right next to it. That's too funny.
That's where the Brady Bunch stayed when they were up here filming.
Wow. Yeah, it's just crazy. I remember driving like to and from work all the time, and after my shift, hey, it's hot. Let's go to the water park, Boomerang Bay.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and it was just Kings Island, such a special place. I just hope that they, obviously I talked about in my video today. Now that we have the Phantom Theater, right? 26, 23 was Soul Spin and the little spinning ride next to it. 24 was the family coaster. 25 was the water park. There's nothing else they need. They need the coaster. So I think the next thing we get would be a coaster. 27. I mean, 28. I think it's 27 because I think 28 could be a Cedar Point year for coaster. I don't know if Cedar Point's going to go 3 years without adding a coaster. I don't see them both getting coasters in the same year due to marketing power, especially with this new MVP pass.
Yeah.
They're going to cross market. Hey, 3 hours north, go check out Cedar Point. I don't think it makes sense for them to both get new coasters the same year.
That'd be a lot for Tony, too, to promote.
Yeah, for sure. So it's so weird, man. Like, I was at King's Dominion last month to ride Pantherian.
Yeah.
Or was it earlier? It was earlier this month. And then I saw Jessica there. And it's so, and I hung out with her. She was the first female park president of Dorney Park, the last couple of years. So I met her up at Dorney Park and walked the park with her last year and talked to her. She's great, man. She's like the female version of Jeffrey Seifert. Like, she's awesome. She gets it. And seeing her at King's Dominion in the Six Flags Polo, I'm like, it's so weird still.
It is.
So I like it, but it's different.
What's weird is seeing Slaughterhouse presented by Skittles.
Yeah.
As we were talking about the branding, it's just, you got to chuckle.
See, I don't like that. That doesn't make it scary to me, right? Skittle. I wish it would be different. I don't mind, billboards. I don't think rides should be sponsored. I remember back in the day they did the wraps on the Six Flags ride. El Toro was wrapped with whatever. It's stupid. Can't stand it.
Yeah, it's funny seeing Delirium presented by Snickers, and the fireworks show of all things was presented by M&M's. You just got to chuckle at it. It's funny, but it is what it is.
It's bringing more money in.
That's true. And with more money, we could get nicer things. And what would you like to see Kings Island get as the next coaster? What model do you think would be perfect for the park?
There's so many different rides out there that Kings Island could benefit from. Obviously, the park only has one launch coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Because the kid coaster is not a launch. I think I'm sorry, they have two launch coasters. I'm sorry, Backlot and Flight of Fear.
Yes.
But I feel like I always forget Flight of Fear because it's just indoors and I forget it's there. I love it, don't be wrong. But the launch coaster is such the big craze right now. Mm-hmm. Especially Top Thrill 2, Velocicoaster, Hagrid's, Fast and Furious at Hollywood, Pantheon at King's Dominion. So I think it's going to be a launch. And then a couple of years ago, I did some cool concepts for like the Vortex plot of land where we would see a cool Vekoma multi-launch coaster be built there and like pay homage to like the original Vortex, the Batwing element, but a little bit larger, kind of like Abyssus over at Energylandia, where you walk into the ride plaza and it's like centered around the ginormous Batwing element. Would be really cool. But now with all the stuff we talked about going up in Action Zone, that area needs the most love.
Yeah.
And Vortex, at least one good thing about Vortex is like you can tell there's a field there, but if you've never been to Kings Island before, you really wouldn't know there's a lot of room there because the way they have the fence up. So it's like, unless you're riding Windseeker or like Orion, you really can't, or Beast, of course. So I think that they're clear on that area for as far as not adding anything new for a while. I think Action Zone is going to get the revamp. And in Vertigo, Congo Falls. Rumor is Drop Tower. I hope not. I hope Drop Tower stays. But obviously Sky Coaster's gone. The Timberwolf's gone. And really, with Sky Coaster and the Timberwolf and Congo and Vertigo gone, that's a big chunk of land.
Yeah.
I would love for a ride to interact with the entrance in some way. So there's a lot. I don't want a B&M. I think a dive coaster would do well for Kings Island. I think a wing coaster would do well for Kings Island. I don't want it. People argue. I love the argument. Oh, they'll never get a dive because of Val Ravens up at Cedar Point. I'm like, okay. What about Raptor? And Banshee, same scenario, and it worked out great. That parks don't care about that, like within the same chain, and so. Even then they really weren't in the same. Yeah, they were never Paramount days back. Yeah. Anyways, so I think that I would love to see a mock rides, some kind of mock rides coaster, a multi-launch or just a single launch, doesn't matter, but something that's going to feature airtime, inversions, and the launch aspect of it. I just think that's really going to be what that area of the park will get, because Kings Island only has 3 coasters, believe it or not, that go upside down.
Yeah.
Banshee, Flight of Fear, and Vertigo. Yeah. Once you remove Vertigo, it's 2. That's crazy. But it works, though, for Kings Island. But you look at Cedar Point, bunch of rides go upside down. So I would love to see something from Mock Rides. Now, they might go a little cheaper due to the merger and go with like a Vekoma. And I would be totally. Siren's Curse is amazing.
Yes.
Big Bear Mountain's awesome. Like, I'm cool with that. But I think it'll be a thrill coaster with launches, and hopefully it'll be a standout ride. And what I mean by that, like Kings Island has great rides. And when if you ask 10 people what's their favorite ride there, you're probably going to get a good split down the middle of, well, I like Beast, I like Orion, I like Diamondback, I like Banshee, whatever. And they need that standout ride that's going to, like, Kings Island always deserve that. And Orion, in my opinion, should have been that. Yeah. And we can go on another hour as to what I think Orion should have been. It's a good ride. I like it. It's my 4th favorite in the park, I think. Like, I just wish it did more. But that was their one opportunity to really, like, put their staple. If they would have spent more money on it and made it bigger than Fury, then it's like, okay, now Kings Island has that coaster that's going to be in most people's top 10, top 20.
Yeah.
So hopefully whatever they get when it include launches and in that top 20, 25, maybe top 10. But, who knows? I just think that I'm very excited about what's to come. Yeah. I'm working on a video concept now. It might make some people upset, but I think it might happen. And that's like Flash Vertical Velocity Coaster, which I think is a cool name. And I think that the Action Zone could get rethemed. I think there's money there for these IPs that Six Flags has done very well at. And while I don't necessarily want Batman the Ride or Superman the Ride, the GP love that stuff because they resonate with that. I just watched the Superman movie at the theaters. Now you can ride Superman the Ride at Kings Island. I'm going to go buy a cape or a shirt or this or that. It'll be really interesting to see where every park is in 5 years, even 1 year from now. So
yeah, the thing that I've noticed about every land except for Action Zone has a wooden coaster. So if we could get an RMC up front, if we're going with the Justice League, call it Cyborg.
That'd be cool.
Or if they want to keep with the history aspect, Son of Beast's Revenge or something like that.
There might be more pull for RMC now because remember when Kings Island was a Cedar Fair park, they stopped working with RMC. Well, Six Flags has always worked with RMC more so, obviously, than Cedar Fair. And now, and they just worked with Intamin recently, too, and over Georgia's 25 coaster and New England's Quantum Accelerator, which is delayed, obviously.
Yeah. So
what I'm hoping now is the trend is when the merger first took place, it felt like Cedar Fair had more control over the whole company.
Yeah.
But as of late, it's like 50-50 or 40-60. It seems like Six Flags is taken over, which isn't always bad. I think a lot of people want to trash Six Flags, and I think, pump your brakes. They do a lot of good things right. Yeah. They do. And Cedar Fair does a lot of good things right. If I had to pick which company I would feel more confident in running my park, Cedar Fair all day long. But Six Flags has done a lot of good things. They just have had a lot of bad management too. So they have good concepts and good ideas. They just haven't executed them very well. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see what transpires from all of this stuff. It'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, and the future is bright. And like you said, I'm trying to be as optimistic as I can about this whole thing. And but I do believe there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to get our feet going. And because I remember back in the Paramount days, people were 50-50 about it. I love the movie theme. I love the nostalgia. Heck, I'm wearing the Paramount Kings Island Hanna-Barbera shirt. Had this shirt as a kid.
Yeah, I used to work in HB as a ride operator once Whitewater Canyon closed for the season.
Cool.
We had to go work our shifts over there in the fall. It was fun.
So what'd you do in Hanna-Barbera land?
Oh, gosh. I did Beastie. I met one of my girlfriends at Beastie. That was cool. Anyways, I did that and did the car ride next to Beastie and a bunch of the flat rides. I never worked Phantom or Scooby-Doo back then. It was Scooby-Doo. But I did operate the old that coaster. What was that coaster called?
Ghoster Coaster?
Yeah, Ghoster Coaster. That thing was a pain in the butt. Yeah. But it was fun. It's different. It's unique. So it was definitely, fun to work. That. I remember one of my first days I got sent over to HB and they forgot about me. I was on this stupid flat ride right across from Scooby-Doo for like 5 hours straight. I never got a break. And I'm like, all right, I'm about to walk off. This is stupid. I need a break. Then finally, I guess someone came and relieved me to go pee or go to the employee cafeteria to get some food. But I'm like, this sucks.
You're stuck on Pixie and Dixie's flyers.
Something. I don't know what. I was like, oh my gosh. So then I realized parents are the problem. Kids aren't the parents are just going to yell and complain. It's like, calm down. I'm a parent now too, so I have to be careful because I'm a former ride operator. Yeah. So I'm like, hold up here. This guy should be doing that. But it's also funny too, where my son will ask me, "Hey, Daddy, are we safe?" Or I have my cousins. I told them their mom. I'm like, I'm going to take them to Six Flags next time we're up in Massachusetts. She's like, no, you're not going. I'm not letting my kids ride rides. It's not safe. I'm like, look, I was a former ride operator. These rides are safe. Your kids will be safe. I'll double check their restraints. Trust me. Because once you're a ride operator, you'll never lose it. You know what I mean? I'll go to any park right now and think, man, I will go out there right now and work harder and faster than anyone on that platform and check restraints. Because I love it. I'm passionate. I would never go back doing it, obviously, as a career. Yeah. But it'd be really cool for one day to have a content creators day at, Kings Island. You can operate one of the major rides, me and, any of the big Kings Island influencers or other big YouTubers. You come out and that'd be cool.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I miss about Kings Island is just those novelty days, so to speak, for pass holders. I remember the night exclusive events they had. One that sticks out to me was a Friday the 13th night over in Action Zone. Everything was open in the dark. They opened up the blackout maze. They did lights off Banshee, so there was nothing in the area, pitch black. I miss that stuff. And then the dive-in movies back in the day. But
I think a lot of those things. I did a video that comes out tomorrow where here's what I would change if I was CEO of Six Flags. And that's one of them. I said, like, I would work on special events every single month, have something to get people to come back. And these special events don't have to cost a ton of money, but something. That's a great idea of like open up a section of the park every Friday, right, from 8 to 11, and you can go, or you can even charge $10 if you wanted to extra, or whatever it is, to go and experience stuff that you don't normally get to experience. Like, I would love to ride Banshee at night with no lights on. That would be legit cool. Mm-hmm. I would pay $10 or $20 to go ride that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
You know, I think that, you know, stuff like that goes a long way for parks. And I think we've gotten away from that, and it's unfortunate in a lot of ways. But again, I have a lot of friends again in the industry, and a lot of friends work at corporate too. And I tell them, look, like, I know right now life sucks for you guys, right? Because all the changes, all the new things they're implementing, everything. And like, but remember, this merger is not going to happen successfully without you there. Mm-hmm. Turn that frown upside down and let do this, because we need you. Yeah. You know, this company needs you there. And that goes to frontline people, management, corporate, whoever. This is something that will never happen again in our lifetimes, probably, as far as this big of a merger. Yeah. So it's very interesting to see how it's going to play out, and I'm super stoked for it.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. It's that light at the end of the tunnel. I can see it, but there's a distance. There's growing pains.
Rightfully so. And I'm the same way. Like, some of the stuff they're doing to Carowinds, my park, it's like, what the heck? Why? This is stupid. Like Winterfest, 11 to 7. Come on now. Get me in charge of this park by now. This is ridiculous. I think I understand it. Like, I understand why they're doing it, but I don't understand the hours that they're choosing. Mm-hmm. You have to pay the employees regardless. Pay them when people want to be at the park. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Go from 2 to 9. Yeah, that's a great. 2 to 9 would probably be the best. You know, operating hours. 2 to 8, 6 hours. You can even do that if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. But 2 to 9 is gives people time to either they want to go earlier in the day, right? Yeah, go ride rides before it gets cold. Like for us who have kids. Mm-hmm. You can go get dinner at 5 o'clock. It gets dark when you get out of dinner. You can walk around and see lights for an hour, then go home, put the kids to bed. Or like you and your wife, hey, let's go get some night rides. Mm-hmm. Let's go get that. Let's get to the park at 5 o'clock, 5:30, and go grab some food, then go ride rides for 2 or 3 hours at night. Yeah. Yeah, the stupidity behind it, man, like, I can't.
I'm curious if they're trying to cut electric bills without saying we're cutting electric bills for the lights, because you only get hour and a half maybe of Christmas lights, and okay, we're shutting the park down.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I see where you're going with that, but I don't think so, because Carowinds lights were on all the time, even when the park was closed during Winterfest. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you're thinking, like, that's expensive to leave all those lights on. I mean, maybe so, but, like, I think entertainment is obviously at Carowinds. I don't know how it is at Kings Island, but Tinker Toys is not coming back.
Ours isn't either.
Our parade's gone. They've slashed the entertainment aspect of it, which I understand, because those employees cost more money to pay and to produce the show. And so for me, like, all these attractions around Charlotte and Cincinnati too, like, the Christmas time, it's all about the lights. Yeah. Come drive through. Like, we have the big NASCAR raceway here in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. You can pay whatever it is to drive your car through and see all the Christmas lights. That's what people want to see. Mm-hmm. The entertainment stuff is cool, but that's an added benefit. But I guarantee you, people aren't going to Carowinds or Kings Island just for the shows. Yeah. They're going for the overall experience, and I still think people would go if it was just lights and the park was open till 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. That was the charm of Winterfest back in the day. It's like there was no rides basically open. You walked the park, you ice skated on the Royal Fountain, you did all the stuff, saw Scrooge and his puppet hut, all that stuff back in the day. It's the charm of Christmas. You got your coasters during the summer, spring, and fall. It's just the Christmas winter charm.
Yeah, and you guys still have your normal Winterfest hours, 5 to 10,
Yep.
5 to 10. See, if it was me, I would even change that. Because, up in Ohio, 10 o'clock at night, it's cold.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, those rides are not going to operate
Mm-hmm.
due to weather. So I would do 4 to 9 even, something. But I worked at when Paramount brought back Winterfest in 2005, I worked it. It was really cool. I was lucky to be still in operations, and I did the train ride.
Oh, man.
And so I was able to ride on the train as they stopped. I don't know if you remember it all, but they stopped at where those facades are, the old country store facade, the old Western town. And the guy got off of the train to go walk over to see his wife. And there was a whole storytelling piece to it.
Wasn't it? It's a Wonderful Life?
It was something, I think so. It was really cool. It was neat.
Man, there is so much charm. And again, Kings Island's proven it. They love their history, so who knows? But yeah, for this year, I'm pretty sure Tinker's cut. Yeah. Our parade floats just came in this week, so we're having a parade.
That's good.
How it's going to look without Tinker, we don't know. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting. But I'm glad they're keeping it for now because it stinks for Dominion. They got theirs cut completely, and then a couple of holidays in the park.
At least the park's open through, I think, the first week of December. At least you have that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that park's tricky, though. I don't know if you've been there, because I see Reptera poster, right? Yeah. The staffing for that park's difficult because Doswell is 30 minutes north of Richmond, 30 minutes south of Fredericksburg, nothing really in between. So most people have a commute, which is always challenging. Whereas Carowinds, Kings Island, you're in a metro.
Yeah.
Kings Dominion's just outside of the metro.
Yeah.
And I think that if going back 50 years, if Kings Dominion or the people that were in charge of the TAF broadcasting for Kings Dominion, they would have realized if they would have known what Doswell was today, that park would have been located somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
They would have moved it somewhere else. I think that they were expecting it to be. There's no. It's a great park. There's no reason why that exit off the intersection there isn't built up. Mm-hmm. There should be shopping centers there. There should be restaurants. There should be better hotels. Mm-hmm. Never stay at a hotel in that area. It's nasty. I mean, do it if you can, if that's the only place you can afford. But man, I used to find cheap hotels. I couldn't afford it years ago. Now we have kids. It's all right, we don't stay at $500 a night hotels or not like that, but we have to have a nice place to sleep with 2 kids and a dog.
Yeah, Airbnb's been the way to go for us. That's how we pulled off the Kings Dominion, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg trip was Airbnb, and that's usually what we do. Especially with Cedar Point, like you mentioned, their hotels are ridiculous. So we do little things here and there, but yeah, it's going to be fun to see where it goes. Hopefully,
for sure.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Well, Brandon, it's been a pleasure having you on this week, and some final questions here for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is some takeaways you want to give listeners, whether they're inspiring to do content creation or just be a light to those around them? What's some takeaways you want to leave with listeners this week?
Yeah, I mean, I always say, if I could do this, someone else could do it, because I taught myself everything, and this is such a great day and age where we can have a platform that doesn't cost really any money to have. I mean, you can just do everything on your phone if you wanted to. My microphone costs $100, right? Mm-hmm. So that's all it was. Most people have computers. There's really no excuse. Don't use there's so many other people doing the same thing. Who cares? Do it. Find your niche. That's when I started the channel as Theme Park Predictions, just to have that niche of I knew no one else was doing that on a full-time basis. So that's when my channel really blew up. And then as I grew as a creator and as a businessman with it, because it is my business, my full-time stuff I do, I needed to adapt to how can I bring in other types of videos that are going to be more better revenue for long term, and so that's when I'm like, okay, let's play around with the name, changed it maybe 5 different times, too many times, I know. But, settled on Theme Park Brandon, and that's who I am. And so it's been a huge blessing. And, never let anyone tell you can't do it. Mm-hmm. And it takes courage, as you know, Donnie, to like let your opinions out there, because now you made it public. So I've had to, even 42-year-old myself, I had to get off of Reddit because they would just trash me. And even though, and like my first step was like react to them, and say, hey, shut up. That's ridiculous. That's not whatever. It'd be nice. Then it's like, that'll never change those people. Like don't let negativities make you stop. Always keep pushing. Because remember that you're doing something in your life that's going to impact your life, and those people are not doing that.
Yeah.
Because I know as a fellow creator, I might not necessarily like or agree with other coaster content creators out there, but I always respect them for their craft and for their ethic and what they do for the coaster community, and that's great. So stay positive and always know that. Yeah, for me, like I love helping people. So if you have any questions or anything like that, reach out. I'm happy to help, give my input and everything else like that.
Awesome, and that's definitely a thing. Is you just gotta find you, and not try to be a theme park brand. And don't be a Katie coaster. Be a you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's how you thrive. Is just authenticity and.
People want genuine. People want real. People want, that's what really for me is what it's all about. It's just, and I get asked all the time, like through my friends, they're like, hey, Theme Park Brandon, because they were wearing my merch, whatever. And they're like, yeah, I do. And they're like, so how is he in person? Like in real life? And they're like, he's exactly like he is in his videos. Like that's who he is. And it's really cool where there's a lot of people in our industry and in any industry that, it's a fake facade, them on camera is different than when they're in person, and then they act different, or they're not like, willing to like show those people in the parks time, I mean, I meet a lot of people and I love it, and I try to give everyone a few minutes of my time. Hey, how are you doing? What's your home park? Get to know them. And then, would you like a photo? Because most of them ask for a picture. So now it's like, hey, let's take a picture. And so it's really cool for me to be able to have that platform and just keep plugging away, and I'm about to be at 50,000 subscribers soon. Nice. So that's fantastic. Really blessed.
Congrats.
So I'm excited to continue growing the channel and create a positive piece in the coaster community.
Awesome. And along those lines, what's the future look like for Theme Park Brandon?
I'm actually in the process of redoing my studio here. I'm going to paint it black and put some cool posters up that I created. I sell my merch store, themeparkbrandon.com. So I'll be able to rotate those out every couple of videos. So I used to have all my nano coasters and stuff in the back. Like, oh, it's so cool. Where did you get those at? So again, this is a business that I do, but I also like to be able to use my creativity and have more than just, YouTube content, someone that could, oh, that's a really cool shirt or this or that. So just growing all avenues of what I do, being a great father, great husband, obviously number one, and just becoming, continually growing into a person that, just shows love for others, especially in this day and age where it's not like that as much as it should be. And just working on theme park guides and videos that help people. That's what I really like. I love my concept videos, prediction videos, but there's a different joy for me when I get a video that can help someone learn more about a park, right? Or I'm going to go to either, let's say Hershey Park or Kings Island. But my video I'm going to go to Kings Island instead of Hershey Park, or whatever. or a better example, like I'm going to go either on a cruise, right, or a theme park. Now, maybe I'll do theme park. Anything I can do to help the theme parks out, whether it's Six Flags, Hershey, or Universal, I'll do anything I can to help promote.
Awesome. And along those lines as well, how can folks get connected with you? Go ahead and plug yourself.
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube, I'm on X, and that's really my two biggest ones. Facebook as well. On Facebook and X is just TPR Brandon, and then YouTube is I think it's just hashtag Keep Riding Coasters. I believe it is. But or you type in Theme Park Brandon, it pops up on any of those.
Awesome. And then got your merch shop that you mentioned.
Yep. So themeparkbrandon.com.
Awesome.
That took some time. I spent the last 4 days. Well, last week I spent 4 days. I had to redo everything. It's really cool. It's a lot better now. And plus, what's really neat about that is when someone buys something on my channel, I can the what's it called, the merch provider I use and the website, they allow me to send a thank you message.
Oh, that's cool.
So I can say, hey, thank you, Johnny, for your Beast shirt that you purchased and your Son of Beast shirt, whatever.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing a great, I can say anything I want. And that really makes people's days and connects. That's what I like. I just like, making people like, oh, that guy's really cool. He's really nice, and I just try to be genuine.
Yeah. That's super neat too that you get to do that. I'll have to talk with you about that and see where to get that aspect of it. And then last but not least, this question that we ask every week with our guests. We have something called Song Spotlight Saturday, where we just highlight a song that means something to us. What's one song you'd like to highlight this week?
There's a lot, man. Like, I'll probably go with we really like a lot of artists. I love NF. Mm-hmm. We really like Brandon Lake too. Mm-hmm. I'll go with Brandon Lake Sevens.
All right.
Have you heard it or not?
I haven't listened to the new CD yet. So
the new CD, you're crazy. That's so funny. New CD, I love it. I love it, Don. You never change. Change. But yeah, Sevens like a hardcore rock song. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't. Like we played it for my mom and stepdad who are in their 70s. Yeah. They're like, this isn't Christian music. I'm like, you better believe it is. It doesn't sound like, but it's hardcore rock and it's great. So it's a banger, man. I'm telling you, my son has it as his intro song for his baseball, and every time he's at bat, the song comes on. Nice. It's like, all right, let's go.
So we'll go ahead and highlight Mr. Brandon Lake this week, and well, Brandon, it's great having you on this week, and we will definitely stay in touch, and we're excited for what's in store for Theme Park Brandon.
Yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate what you do, Donnie. I know it's not easy, and keep doing you. Let me know how I can help you in any way. Grow your content as well.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Ride of Your Life podcast. We hope it was a blessing, help, and encouragement to you. Stay connected with ROYL on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Simply search Ride of Your Life Ministries. You can also visit our website, rideofyourlifeministries.com, for the latest news and updates, as well as our merch shop. Be sure to stop by our YouTube channel, simply search Ride of Your Life Ministries, for this episode and others from previous seasons. And you can also find future content there as well. We hope you'll join us next week for another great episode of the Ride of Your Life podcast. God bless.